How you going, folks? You're really welcome to this week's episode of John's Garage. This week, we got another true supercar. We have a Lotus Evora. We're going to take this for a blast and have a look around it. We're going to have loads of fun, which is exactly what we're doing on this channel. So stick with me, make sure you've subscribed, and let's jump right into it right now. Okay, folks, so what exactly is a Lotus Evora? Well, it was the first all-new chassis from Lotus since 1995 when the original Series 1 Elise was launched. This particular one differs a lot from the Elise in terms of platform, in terms of size, capability and repairability. The original Series 1 Lotus came with a one-tub aluminium chassis. Unfortunately, if you were in a crash, that was rather difficult, being that the front, middle and rear sections were all one particular unit. In this case, they've gone for 3 separate tubs. One for the rear, one for the middle and one for the front. That means you can simply unbolt them to change the car. Lotus originally envisioned that sales for this car would top 2,000 units per annum. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, with sales peaking out at approximately 6,000 to 7,000 units over the course of 12 years. So sales of this, or deliveries of this began, I should say, in 2009 to customers in the UK. It was also sold in the United States and North American markets. And of course, sales came to an end in 2021. Here though today, we have a 2010 example. And what's more, this is the only one on Irish roads. We are not aware of any others. We have checked, we've done as much searching as we can. This is the only one we can find. It's very unusual what's very close to your home, folks, but here we have a one-off Irish example of the Lotus Evora. So, what exactly is happening underneath that bonnet? Well, let's have a look. Okay, folks, to access the engine, it's mid-mounted, so it's underneath this particular boot panel. So to access it, you take the keys, there's a bottom button on it, you click it twice, and the electronic release goes, and you simply just, whoop, if I can put my hand in the right place, lift up the boot lid. So here we have a 3.5 litre V6, and this particular one, and all of them in fact, are 24 valve. Later models in 2010 became the Evora S, which was a supercharged unit. And of course, the most amazing thing about this particular engine is it's been lifted out of a Toyota Camry. So very standard engine in the US. They would think nothing of this, but in the UK, of course, the 3.5 litre V6 Camry was never made available. Now, this is obviously a lovely engine cover. If you wish to access the engine, you press here, and you lift up the very light plastic cover. Okay, now I'll try and get a shot for you guys in just a second. So I asked the owner, what's it like running one of these? And he said, incredibly easy, as you would expect from Toyota. Now that's the engine-wise. So engine oils, filters, all that kind of stuff, all standard Toyota issue. In fact, the filter belongs to a RAV4, he tells me, so that's great. Now, one thing you will notice immediately, and the camera's probably shown this, is you have a bank of cylinders over there, you have a second bank of cylinders right against the bulkhead. In fact, both are against the bulkhead. So you might say, how do you access them to change the spark plugs? Well, in fairness to Lotus, they thought about this, unusually, and there is 3 or 4 screws, 4 screws in fact here, which unbolts a panel back here and you have direct access to it. You also can do the same inside. You remove the rear seats. Again, there's a panel there that unbolts, and you get direct access. The only real thing that's a bit of an issue, which you need disjointed arms to access, is the dipstick for the oil, which is down right in front of the bulkhead, but it is accessible and can be gotten. So you can just simply click in that back in place there. The boot, and there is a convenient boot. The boot is cooled. So despite the fact the engine is there and the space is open, there is cooling ducts going into the boot area. So if you are taking luggage with you or food, maybe a weekly shopping, if you were going to do that in your Lotus Evora, you can access it here. Now, the other thing to note is, however, maximum allowable mass in luggage compartment is 50 kgs. So we're not going to put any bodies in here. However, from reading up about this car, they do say that a set of golf clubs can fit in here, but Lotus are very clear in their design. They didn't consider this, yet magically it can be done. Anyway, maybe that's aimed at the age profile or buyer profile of the car. Who knows, but it's certainly practical. Now, stepping around to the front of the car, I'm sure you all want to know what's under that bonnet up front. Business end at the rear, but still there's going to be some entertainment up here. So let's open up that clamshell and see what's going on up there. Reach in here, there's a little flick switch. And yeah, as you can see, the front end has popped open. That's it, folks. That's all you get at the front end. Tiny little panel, opens up, it reveals the easiest accessible pollen filter ever in a car is right there. You have your window washer fluid and your brake fluid. That's it. That's all you can open and access under the front of the Lotus Evora. But worth looking at and interesting all the same. Okay, folks, you're very welcome to the interior of the Lotus Evora. So first up, let's talk about the name, Evora. What does it mean? Well, Lotus will tell you it's a mix of evolution, vogue, and aura. Evora. Probably marketing nonsense, but anyway, it sticks to the tradition that Lotus have of naming their cars with the letter E at the beginning. So you have Elan, Elite, Eclat, Exige, Esprit, and so Elise, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to go any further than that because I'm going to start forgetting the names or mixing them up. Anyway, this particular one is a reasonably standard with a couple of little optional extras on the interior. The first thing anyone who's ever been in a Lotus, whether to sit in, walk past or look at or be driven in, will notice is this is a comfortable place to be. There's some sumptuous finish to this car. Hand-stitched leather dash, hand-stitched leather seats. These are Recaro seats, by the way, as well. So very, very good comfort, very good ride quality. Very, very nice place to be. Now, what else do you have? Well, you have milled aluminium on the dashboard. You have a nice aluminium center console, nice aluminium finish to the buttons, lovely aluminium finish to the steering wheel, and so on and so forth. And it is a beautiful leather item. Now, this particular car has over 50,000 miles completed, and everything in the car works according to the owner. They've had absolutely no issues outside of normal, regular maintenance. Now, when it came to the Evora, Lotus cared not just about the quality of the car, but they also cared for the first time ever in their history about the safety of the owners. Okay, so what does this car come with? Well, we have dual airbags, we have traction control, which of course can be switched off. We have a sport button in case the owner would like to enjoy themselves a little bit more. We have a very, very nice driving position. There's good support, and see this, folks, I hope that's showing up on camera. Even the seats, the leather in the seats moves. There's cushioning in here. There's carpets all around. There's leather lining, electric windows, and a good sound system as well. There's even space for two kids. And I mean that there is actually space for two kids in the back of this car. And of course, there's space for an adult if you remove their head and legs and just relieve the torso as well. I'm joking. There is space for an adult back there. What else do we have in this car? Air conditioning. We have not traction control, cruise control. So you can take this on a long journey. And I have spoken to the owner. They have taken this on very, very long road trips. They've taken it to the factory in Norfolk. They've taken it to the south of France. They've taken it to John O'Groats. They've taken it on a lot of journeys, and they've said it's always been a pure pleasure. Very, very comfortable. You're not stiff getting out of it. It's a nice place to be. In total, over 6,117 units were produced over the entire lifespan of the car. So that's from 2009 to 2021. As I said, this is a 2+2 configuration. And of course, Lotus launched this car to compete directly between the Cayman and the Porsche 911. Now, you might say, how can it compete against both? Well, it was priced to compete against both. And of course, with the increase in quality of the interior, it was built to compete with both. Now, in the boot, we have the transverse mounted Toyota 3.5 litre V6 24 valve. And in this particular car, it is the Evora, so it isn't supercharged, but no harm, okay? It still produces 276 horsepower, 252 foot-pound of torque, and is good for a top speed in and around 163 miles per hour if you are feeling brave. Hotter versions of this car can go all the way to 196 miles per hour, and with a little bit of fettling, some say maybe even 200 miles per hour might be possible. 0 to 60 miles per hour time is dispatched in 4.8 seconds, and with all of that, it still remains economical and can achieve up to 30 miles per gallon. The owner says that's realistic. 25 to 30 miles per gallon in this car is a realistic figure to achieve. 6-speed manual, but one thing to note about the 6-speed manual, just for any potential owners, and given that this is the only one in Ireland, it'll probably be a potential owner of this car, but the owner is very clever. They have bought one of these. It's a clutch plate. The clutch plate for these was only made by one company and was only ever fitted to this car. So if you are going importing one, and if it's got any issue with the clutch, please be aware that it may be difficult to source a clutch plate. Other than that, the owner has bought one, so they're sorted, I guess. Now, still speaking about the gearbox, this is a short shift gearbox fitted to this particular model. That was an optional extra, and of course, it helps to improve the performance of the car overall. What else can I talk to you about in here? Other optional extras, side sills on this particular car, and the head unit has been upgraded. Other than that, it's all entirely standard. Okay, the owner has done no modifications. They haven't lowered it, they haven't fitted stiffer suspension or anything like that. They use it, and they use it for quite long journeys, so they want to maintain that comfort. As I said, this went out of production in 2021 and it was replaced by the Emira, and thus ends Lotus's association with petrol engines. The Emira will be the last petrol engine Lotus. They are going fully electric after this, and they're now Chinese owned, so they have a lot of backing to achieve their goals for the first time, probably realistically, in their history, okay? So they're switching to electric cars, and fingers crossed for the future of Lotus. But this is the first Lotus launched in 2009 that started to come with technology and driver aids, but fortunately they were also quite clever in that they don't really interfere with the driving experience. Anyway, speaking of driving experiences, let's get this puppy out on the road and see how it goes. Okay folks, you're very welcome to the drive of the Lotus Evora. So that's 6-speed manual box, absolutely gorgeous. Now, I'm just going to slow down for 1 second. I did mention when I was talking about the interior, there is a sport button here. So let's press that. You can instantly feel the throttle response changes and the car revs a lot more confidence and speed. That's from third to fourth. And we're going to slow down there now as we approach 100 kilometers per hour. Obviously, we're not here to abuse the cars, okay? So I'm going to just change that off again, just to bring the car back down to a more pleasant environment, just so I can talk to you a little bit easier. Now, a couple of things you'll notice straight away, even before you get into this car. Lotus, of course, being a small manufacturer, unfortunately can't produce all its own switchgear. So straight away, the first thing when you're handed the key, it's a Ford Focus key. Very, very familiar to owners of Ford Focus. Behind the steering wheel, you also have the toggles from a Ford Focus. So the indicator stalk, the wiper switch, and so on and so forth. Down here, the controls for the electric wing mirrors, that's again from a Ford Focus. But an interesting tidbit about that the owner told me. Lotus wanted £400 sterling for you to have electric folding mirrors in your Lotus Evora. Nice little touch, you might think. And this particular car does have them fitted. However, the owner was looking up. What a lot of owners did when they first bought their Evora was they went to their local Ford dealer, paid €15 for the switch, fitted it them, or £15 for the switch, fitted it themselves, and the motors were already in the mirrors. So all they needed was the switch, and that was it, simple as that. Other than that, you're sitting here, lovely steering wheel, looking at the dials, nice and clear, nice and crisp, a couple of LED displays, again showing tire pressures, temperature of the engine, speed, miles per gallon, and so on and so forth, time and temperature outside. Everything falls easily into place, all the controls are perfect. Now, testament to Lotus's build quality, this is a 2010 model, okay? It's 2023, it's 13 years old, nothing is out of place in here in the interior. The dashboard is in really good condition, the seats are in really good condition, there's no ribs, there's no tears, no flaws anywhere. What else can I tell you? Everything works, electric windows, electric mirrors, electric folding mirrors, everything works exactly as it should. So there's no rattles, there's no squeaks, and I am so confident in what I'm saying there that I'm actually going to take us up a little side road here. So this is a single lane country road. And bear in mind, it's February, so nothing is in good condition. The surface is rough, there's potholes, but I want to show you that Lotus really did mean business when they said that this particular car was well built, okay, and was comfortable and was a nice place to be. So we'll head up here on this side road and we'll see just how comfortable that suspension is, especially over something like an Elise, for example. So again, nice little exhaust note off that, but it's not intrusive. So the owner has told me they've taken it on long road trips. They've gone to John O'Groats, I think it was, south of France. They've been to the Norfolk Lotus factory and several other places, and they found it quite a comfortable place to be. Of course, you can throw your luggage in the boot. Now, when I say single lane road, guys, I mean I'm properly taking this up a single lane road. No rattles, no squeaks. I've not been shook around the place. Very, very comfortable, and it's a great little experience to have, and to know that you have something truly unique that you can drive any day. You can have fun in it, you can be comfortable in it, it can do whatever you want it to do. Now, with that, folks, okay, like I keep saying every week, the owner contacted me, they wanted their car featured on the channel, and you can do the same, okay? If you have an interesting car, if you'd like it to be in the channel, feel free to contact me via social media. If you have a car collection and you'd just like to show it to the public but keep it private, it's location private, contact me as well. Happy to do that as well. Always love meeting owners of cars, sitting down, having a chat and finding out your experience and the reason you picked the car. over any other car. Of course, the owner of this car picked it over an R35 GTR. I have one filmed. I don't know whether the review has already gone up or whether the review is coming, but it'll be interesting to compare it to that as well, okay? I think personally it compares very favorably. It doesn't have the outright speed and handling, but then again, it's a much lighter car and much more driver involvement in this than there would be in the GTR, okay? Anyway, with that, folks, please make sure you're subscribed. Lovely of you to come along, and I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Unique Irish car on Irish roads. Bye bye, folks.